All right, finance students, we're on ICA 12-2, the big one. Let's jump right in. Here's the problem. You're considering selling new elliptical trainers and you feel you can sell 5,000 of these per year for 5 years, after which time this project is expected to shut down when it's learned that being fit is unhealthy. The elliptical trainers would sell for $1,500 each with variable costs of $750 per each one produced, while annual fixed costs associated with production would be $1 million. In addition, there would be a $6.5 million initial expenditure with the purchase of the production equipment, and $200,000 would be incurred for shipping, installation of the new equipment. It is assumed that this initial expenditure will be depreciated using the maker's method, which is 20%, 32, 19, 17, 11.5 per year for those years respectively, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This project will also require a one-time initial investment of $1 million in net working capital associated with inventory, and it is assumed that working capital investment will be recovered when the project is shut down. Finally, assume the firm's tax rate is 34%. So we're going to answer the following questions. What's the year zero? Cash flow. What are operating cash flows for 1 through 5? Any additional non-operating cash flows in year 5? And then assuming a discount rate of 12.5%, calculate NPV, IRR, modified IRR, and determine if you should take on the project. Okay, we're kind of putting everything together that we've talked about over the last few weeks. This is one big one, so let's jump right in. Now, recognize you're going to be given different information for different projects, but you will have enough information to work all the way through, calculate your free cash flows in order to do your NPV IRR analysis that we see, okay? So the inputs section in blue may have different stuff. Okay, this is just what we put in here. So what I do is I usually just try and put down everything that I can from the project and work through it. Okay, so I know my tax rate is 34%. I know the company's required rate of return is 12.5%, or their cost of capital, same thing. I know it's a 5-year project. We know the new equipment is going to cost, I believe it is $6.5 million that we have. Negative $6,500,000. Shipping and installation is $200,000. Okay, depreciation basis, which we don't really have anything. It's makers. And our initial working capital that we have on here, our initial working capital is $1 million. So that is a cash outflow. So that is what we have. Okay. So the second box here works through sales, unit sales, depreciation, some of the other things that we have, okay? We know year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 every year, it's going to be 5,000 units that we sell every year. Oops, too many. All right, and so we know we're going to sell it for $1,500 every year, okay? So we can copy that, save some time, boom. We've got that. We know the variable cost is always going to be $750 per year or per unit, so negative $750. And we can show that. My annual fixed cost is going to be $1 million. Okay, $1 million every year that we have at that. And then our depreciation rate, which varies 20%, 32%, depreciation each year 19.2%. 17.28. And then the last one is 11.52%. Okay. Now, our depreciation basis, we're going to be using makers to depreciate. Okay. But what is depreciated is the equipment that is installed to do this project. Okay. And so for the depreciation, we're actually going to calculate it on the cost of the equipment plus any shipping, installation, setup fees that we have. So our depreciation basis, what we will be calculating depreciation on, will be $6.7 million. Okay, so any year zero cash flows that we need to look at. The first question. Well, the first one is working capital. We know is $1 million. Okay, so working capital is $1 million. We have to pay that to buy the raw materials to work on things. We know our capital expenditures are going to be our $6.5 million plus the $200,000 to get the machines up. So we have working capital as raw materials, that's product.